2, 1, action!
Hey everybody, my name is Isam Aziz and I'm a realtor in Nashville, Tennessee. This is episode 2 of a show that I don't know what we're going to call. We're on site in Florida today after Hurricane Matthew. Looks good. Today we're going to go over contracts. What's in a contract, who writes the contract, and who accepts the contract. Every state is different as far as what is in a contract. If you're in a different state other than Tennessee, please feel free to reach out to me, or you can reach out to your local real estate professional and they'll be able to help you out. If you need help finding an agent, please contact me. I'd love to help you find somebody. We have people all over the United States. Let's get into the contracts. First thing you do after you find your home is you write a contract on that home. The main thing that people focus in on is the actual contract price, but there are a lot of other things that happen in a contract. You want to decide what you are offering for that particular property. You can also decide what stays with the property and what goes away with the property. Say if you want the kitchen appliances to stay, including the fridge, you're going to want to ask for all of that in the contract. You can ask for the appliances, and you can also ask for things that are with the property. So swing sets, grills, if they're built into the deck, anything like that can be asked for. You can also ask for items not to stay with the property. So if there is a swing set outside and you want that removed, you can ask the seller to remove those items before they actually sell you the home. So if you're not paying cash for your property, you're probably getting a loan. The bank has to have an appraisal done on the property so that they're not putting a loan on a property that's not worth the amount that they're lending you. The agreement will be contingent on an appraisal being done and the appraisal being at or above the offer price that you've asked. You also put in the contract the type of loan that you're going to use. Some properties are not allowed to go FHA just based off of different rules, but that's another video and we'll talk about that. You also discuss the earnest money, how much the earnest money is going to be, and who is going to keep that earnest money until the closing date. We also go through the closing date where you actually close on the house. That's where you sign all of the documents and actually become the owner of the house. You can have a possession transfer as well. So possession is usually transferred on the closing date, so you are at that point the owner of the house. There are certain stipulations sometimes where other people might be in a difficult situation and you might actually rent out the property to them until they're ready to actually move out of there. You also have a lead-based paint disclosure if your house was built before 1978. All this says is that you're allowed to check for lead-based paint. You as a buyer have the ability to go through a house that was built before 1978 and do a lead-based paint inspection. That leads into inspections. After you get your contract in, you'll have probably about 10 days to get an inspection done. Again, those dates are in the contract. You can say how many days you have. Typically it's 10, so that you have from the date that the contract is actually bound, 10 days. I usually do business days so that you have enough time to actually get the inspection completed. You do have the right to waive your inspection. Typically people don't do that because they do want to make sure that everything is right with the house. We'll have a different video on what an inspection will cover. Typically people get inspection completed and then they can ask for certain things to be fixed. You'll also have your final walkthrough date. This is the date where if anything was asked for to be fixed in the inspection report, you'll go through the house and make sure that everything has been fixed, but also to make sure that when the sellers moved out of there, they didn't destroy the place and you're moving into a new place. So the final walkthrough date is usually typically a day before, and it allows you to see the house before you actually take possession. So special stipulations, this is where you can ask the seller to pay for your closing costs. You also say in there all contract days to be business days. I like to put that in there because it gives you a little bit more time. Your 10 days on your inspections, your 3 days for your resolution period, and also different dates that are on the contract. So after the contract, all of those items are on there. What will happen is that the seller's agent will present all of these offers to the seller, and then at that point they'll either accept it, reject it, or they'll counter offer. That's all for today. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
See ya!
The bank